Hello everyone and welcome back to The Letter, where things have become much more lively at this party.
Say what you will, but I think everyone will be more excited when a drunk pregnant woman comes out and swears that you're like the father of her child.
Yep.
Couldn't happen to a better guy.
I still don't know.
I'm with you, where I'm like, I don't know if this is real or not.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if it turns out to be true. We'll probably find out during Luke's story, I'd imagine. The commotion doesn't go further, despite the drunk woman appearing like she has plenty more venom to spill. In a little while, security shows up, escorting her out. Apparently, she's the chief inspector's wife, too. As if this whole thing can't get any more fucked up than it already is. What a mess. But the damage has been done, and beyond the repercussions this will bring, I'm more worried about Hana. Maybe Luke, too, in part. I've seen the man that hides behind his self-importance, and it is someone who cares for the person who stands beside him, no matter how questionable that is now. After all, no anger is worse than that of a scorned woman. And Hana, well, as refined and well-mannered she is in front of her guests, I'm not sure if she'll be all too willing to tolerate this. Her party, her home, her husband, and that woman who has just dared to walk over it. Yet when I glance at her, there's only defeat, a weary slump on her shoulders, and a certain depth to her breathing. I think this is because of the choice we made.
Oh, probably.
Like, I think this dialogue would have been different if we had picked the fight option. Like, the fight has already been drained out of her long ago. I don't know since when this has been going on. I don't know either of them well to judge for myself. I'm simply an outsider who happens to have some kind of connection with both of them.
So here's the thing. Like, Luke's killing himself right now drinking, so maybe he thought he needed to send on his, like, keep his family line going. And it was just like the first willing body. Because he's gonna die.
Don't think that holds up, but sure, we'll go with that. But the air of a person who wishes for respite, it's all too easy to see it in her, as she quietly watches the commotion carry on around her. In a moment, before I can think it through, I'm pulling her to the side and waving Zachary over to us.
Becca, this is a real oh, hey, Miss Wright.
We're back to Miss Wright.
Hello, Zachary. I told you to call me Hana. Did I not?
Yeah, you did.
So now that my husband has supposedly been accused of infidelity, me and you can now share that first kiss.
I don't think it works that way. Admittedly, her familiarity between them catches me off guard. I won't put it past Hana. Her standing in society compels her to keep her appearances, to be nice to everyone sort of thing. While Zachary's growing client base sometimes calls for rubbing elbows with the rich and famous. Although, from the way it appears, this one seems to go beyond maintaining a facade or work. I wonder how this friendship came to be. I'd ask, but we're starting to attract some curious eyes. Most of them are probably searching for more gossip, something to add fuel to the fire. Thankfully, there's no need to explain it to Zachary. He's aware of the situation all too well.
So, this is what you called me for? We gonna get Hana out of here?
That'd be great.
Soon, he's leading the three of us out of the ballroom. Anyone who dare speak or approach on our way out, I shut down with a sharp glare.
Oh, you go, Becca.
In a few steps, we're out. Away from the commotion and the suffocating tension. I don't stay long with them, though. Even if I want to, Ashton's still somewhere in that crowd. I've got to go back for him, at least. No matter how much the idea of that alone sends an unpleasant twinge in my stomach.
Hey, I gotta go back in there. Completely forgot my bag like an airhead, and I'll see if I can tag Ash on the way out. You'll be fine here, right, Hana? Not to worry, dearie. I'll just be right here. Zach will be with you if you need anything.
Besides, it seems Zachary can handle this without another person helping out. In fact, for some reason, I've got this strange impression I might be intruding on something if I elect to remain. Better to entrust this with someone she's comfortable with.
See? I'm not the only one.
And though it might be a little inappropriate considering what has transpired, a smile worms its way to my lips as I leave.
I feel like this game was mislabeled.
Should have been drama.
No, it should have been The Letter, where the love triangle and the murder meet.
Yes.
Sorry.
I don't know where this is going. Good on them, I suppose. Chatter has exploded throughout the whole ballroom once I return. Worried murmurs, clicking of tongues, and inappropriate gossip filters through the thick tension in the room. Most of them haven't even left the premises, and they're already talking about it. Tomorrow it'll be on the news for sure in every local broadsheet and tabloid in Luxborn. No wonder Luke's knee-deep into damage control. Even with the scandalous woman gone, he has turned his attention on the media covering the event. Though so far, he isn't faring well in the cleanup department.
Now, people, we all know the drill. I'm sure you're all itching to get a start on those articles.
Good thing Zachary isn't here. I can't imagine a man of his temperament dealing with someone like him.
But if I read one word, see one picture about this come morning, even a single shot of the bloody wine glass the harlot held, you will all lose more than your jobs.
Ooh, not a good call.
Why wouldn't you just say, like, dude, I'm innocent?
Well, because that usually doesn't fly over either. Luke's diatribe goes on for another few minutes, after which he excuses himself out of the area. There's a brief lull, a reluctant pause before the place comes astir again, but shortly the buzz returns. Dancers have once again taken to the floor and their guest excited talk begins anew. But I couldn't care less about any of this now. Simply standing in the middle of it already gives me a headache. When the shock has faded, I feel bone tired. I've accomplished nothing of what I've come here for, and apparently Ashton's disappeared sometime during the commotion.
Where did he go?
Oh no.
Did he go save Marianne?
Maybe. I'm not sure what pisses me off more. That he ignored me the whole evening and might have just left without saying anything, or knowing he obviously has some other motive for being here. Can't he at least trust his own friends for that?
The only crazy thing that I have in my brain right now is that Isabella came too, and that she's snooping around.
Oh, he's worried that Isabella came here.
Yeah.
And is trying. Well, maybe.
So I'm.
It's weird that we wouldn't have run into her though at any point.
Well, I think he was wandering around the ballroom, probably looking for her.
Could be.
And I wonder now if he's in the mansion trying to find her. But crazy.
He didn't have to hide it from me.
It's the last straw. No longer in the mood, I grab my bag and head out, more than ready to end the disastrous night as early as possible. As it turns out, the night isn't done with me yet. Because no sooner has the porter closed the door behind me, I find myself standing alone in the foyer with one Luke Wright.
It's Tio.
Yes. Or Bratwurst. No
Bratwurst, whiskey.
No sign of Hannah or Zachary. Just him and the agitated clicks his shoes make while he treads around the empty room. Away from the media's prying eyes and their guests' judging stares, it's easy to glean how much the scandal has him shaken. Not to the point where he has utterly lost his composure, he appears to have mastered himself enough not to. But an ample opening is there for a nervous edge to show on the lines of his shoulders.
What do you know?
The man is not as tough as he makes himself out to be. Sure, I've seen this before, briefly in that 1 second in the hallway at the school. It's a strange matter, however, to witness this out in the open. Behind closed doors, this is the real Luke Wright. Though maybe that's because he hasn't noticed my presence yet, busy as he is with his thinking. If he's aware, I doubt he'll be acting like this. His pride is one thing he will always wear with him. Even now, when I place a gentle hand on his shoulder, he whirls around to face me. There's a second-long moment of anger flashing across his features before it dissolves into confusion. He tucks it away as quickly as he can, but it does nothing to change the impression I've built of the man in my head.
Daisy, must you be everywhere?
I have to be
We've
the one
only
to come
met
around
3
and read you the
times,
book.
Luke. Quit the dramatics.
Yeah, we don't have the book this time.
Besides, shouldn't you be aware of who gets invited to your party?
If I was, there wouldn't be any of that scene tonight. That munter wouldn't even get an inch within this property. I'd ban her off Luxborn if I could.
Why you should have helped Hannah with the party instead of getting drunk.
I don't think it would have mattered. He probably pawns everything off to his servants in Hana.
Oh, yeah.
Pompous elitist douche.
Did you just come out here to lecture me about it? Because, Daisy, I can already feel one coming tomorrow. I don't need to hear one from you tonight.
Oh, yep. I think every time the butterfly shows up in the top left corner, that means we're getting dialogue because of choices.
Okay.
I think.
You are a very unpleasant man.
So I've been told. Will that be all? If so, I suggest you go back and join every bloody goss in that room.
Not everything. As unpleasant and frustrating talking with this man is, he deserves the benefit of the doubt at least. The questions and criticisms aren't lacking, of course. Right at this instant, there's only one thing that comes to mind. I'm.
Because is it true? Sounds like we're accusing him.
Yeah.
And should you be with your wife also sounds like accusatory.
Maybe this one, like, I'm trying to justify it. I'm like, maybe it's like, oh, you should go talk to her sort of thing.
Okay.
It's like,
You know, brooding over here isn't going to fix this mess.
okay, that was right. That was right.
Sweet.
Okay.
Again with the lecture.
You want me to pull out the book?
Will you stop calling it that?
Very well, what should we call this then? A heart to heart?
Yeah, let's go heart to heart.
Please don't. I might puke.
I mean, from the drinking, you might do that anyway.
And just so you know, I don't want to talk about feelings. Ever.
We weren't talking about feelings. We were talking about go to your wife. Idiot.
This isn't one, all right? It's just a friendly concern. Bloody hell, can't you just take it for what it is?
These two would be great in a cat fight together.
He pauses at that. Suddenly, he doesn't know what to do with his hands, and in the end, he simply stuffs them back into his pockets and sulks. There probably aren't many people who tell him that. He's a difficult man to get along with, after all. I honestly won't give him a second of my time if I didn't see a different side of him. Dealing with him requires more than patience. When the awkwardness passes, mostly coming from him, he merely glances away. But the tightness in his shoulders has eased, and when he speaks again, despite his rather rude choice of words, none has any venom in it.
Friendly concern, right. While we're at it, I should mention that Hana used to call that viper friend. Now I think she might want to strangle the Munta if she sees her again. After she's done with me, of course.
I doubt she's going to do anything like that.
What do you even know about this?
Oh, I know enough. You may look like a sleazy douche, and you still are, by the way.
It's almost comical how fast his face shifts from mild disdain to offended, but I don't let it distract me. These things need to be said, and he needs to hear them, even though they're coming from some meddling stranger.
But you have your few good moments. I might even say that you're a decent person, if I'm in the mood. Now go. If you really love her, you've got to try and fix this yourself.
Maybe tomorrow.
Luke.
Daisy, did you see her earlier? Was that the face of a wife who wants to have a chat with her cheating husband?
Oh, well, at least you admitted you did something wrong. Good for you. How about a star? Would you like a star to go with that good deed?
Yikes.
Don't get used to it. Do you realize how awkward this is?
Oh, I do.
Before I've even thought about what to say, I've known there can only be two ways this can go. All things considered, it isn't as bad as I've assumed. However, there are still some things my brand of encouragement can't fix. His marital problems, first and foremost. His attitude follows right after. Concerns aside, I can't help with those. Those are things only he can fix, and it's definitely not by standing around here bantering.
Don't worry, I was just about to leave. Feel free to continue with your brooding once I'm gone. I'm not going to tell anyone. Cross my heart.
You think this is funny, Daisy?
I do.
Laughter is the only response I give him. TLDR, stop sulking. With a slight wave of my hand, I end it right there and walk away. I wonder if we got this. I wonder if we got this because we're like our relationship is high enough with Luke.
I'm hoping. But he didn't deny that he wasn't a cheating husband.
Well, we knew that he cheated. We just don't know to what extent.
Right.
Because he did try to sleep with Marianne.
Which we knew that.
Yeah. So, although I can't resist the urge to glance back before I leave, if only to have one last look at the man he really is. But the instant I turn my gaze on him, I see it.
What do you see?
Oh! Looming, hovering over his shoulder, drawn to him like a moth to a flame. Like the first time I stepped inside this place in search of Isabella. He was there too, wasn't he? That man, along with his wife and another person, Miss McCullough? And that shadow. No. A woman now. Her. No longer a dark blur. Terror rushes through every vein in my body. A crippling sensation gripping every part of me while she stares at me with a glare filled with nothing but hate and venom. It's like staring at the eyes of a woman I've unknowingly robbed of something precious. I try to say something.
You can keep
a
Luke.
warning.
If you stop all this
Right, we'll
shit, you
trade
can
it.
have him.
But before I can gather my wits and voice it out, someone shuts the door behind me. As if to keep outsiders away from the secrets of this mansion possesses. Oh. The brush of fresh air against my cheeks does little to dampen the chill in my bones. But now the sensation, the fear and disquiet, it leaves whenever I see her. Is familiar enough for me. Already, it has made a home in my nerves. I don't even notice my trembling hands until I cross my arms across my chest. The cold from the tips of my fingers seeps through the thick material of my shirt. Neither of it helps bring together some semblance of coherent thought in my head, but I know I should.
Someone has to tell that douche.
I start walking back before fear can cripple me again. It's not wise. Returning, that is, especially after what happened. But Hana's still an old friend, and Luke doesn't deserve whatever misfortune that letter might bring. I can't just leave those two in there. Isabella's right. She's real, and there's something she wants from everyone who has read that.
Becca, where'd you go off to?
If you're done here, let's go. I'll get you back to the city. My mistake. The second his voice cuts through the crisp night air is that I've allowed my annoyance to get the better of me. Fuming, purpose forgotten, I whirl around and march towards him.
Where the hell were you?
Oh, I bet if we were better friends, this would probably go differently. Now I'm noticing the butterfly in the corner more often, and I'm like, oh, this is probably where things branch. One accusation after another piles up at the tip of my tongue, ready to be hurled at any moment. There's no hesitation holding me back when I fling it at him. The straight face he keeps as I do so doesn't help temper my anger either. It only makes me want to slap some more sense into him.
Shouldn't I be the one asking you that?
Becca, I've been waiting here the whole time since that mess in the hall. I told you I hate parties like...
And before that, where have you been the entire evening?
Right then and there, I might have forgiven him if he's shown some ounce of remorse for leaving me like that. Maybe he could have looked away, given me a sign that my assumptions might be right. He doesn't even need to put them into words. A single gesture of confirmation is all I need. Rather, what I get is the same impassive look. He does that whenever he can't disclose anything. He does that whenever he's lying. In the face of it, amidst the thick tension, a frustrated huff is the only thing I can summon.
Be that way. Fine. Suit yourself.
No more words. After everything I've seen and heard tonight, I'm already too exhausted for those, so without speaking any further, I simply walk past him and stomp over his car. Although before I can pull open the door, he calls out, one hand outstretched, a gentle weight on my shoulders.
Wait, Becca.
He pauses, his
is
brows
where you're gonna
furrowing
pour
and
your-
lips curving into a slight frown.
Undying love?
I don't think we did well enough.
Nah. He's better friends with Isabel.
That's kind of how I felt. I can almost see the gears turning in his head when he tries to piece together everything he wants to say.
That's so sad. I think him and Isabel make a better couple than him and Rebecca.
Yeah, and maybe it's just because we played as Isabella first.
I just more think like her personality and his personality just won't go together. Like I just see it as an abusive relationship because she's gonna go off on him
Like all the time, yeah.
because he's a detective and can't tell her shit.
Before, perhaps, I might have waited patiently for those. He's not a man fond of using words to express himself. More often than not, any gesture of honesty will only come out blunt and coarse when forced. But today, for one reason or another, I simply can't summon that forbearance.
Ashton, if you're just going to waste my time again...
Becca, listen. I don't know how else...
That much is obvious.
What?
Why don't
Woman-
you just take the whole bloody night? Go on.
He's going to
I can
admit
wait till
you're
next
right.
year. Better yet, why don't you just keep it all to yourself like you always do? It's not like...
Rebecca, will you hear me out first?
On.
The silence I can offer him. But whether I'll believe what he's about to say is still up for debate. A very long debate.
I honestly don't know how else to put this. I'm aware your parents have some kind of history with Hana Wright, and somehow you're...
That wasn't what I was hoping for.
But you should stay away from these people for now. Especially the husband.
Who? Luke?
His expression deepens into a scowl at my mention of the name, but whatever opinion he has, he doesn't immediately voice. Still, something about it has greatly displeased him, evident in the stiff note his tone assumes.
Yeah, he's bad news.
Care to explain your reasons?
We'll just have to figure it out in the next episode.
Man, I was hoping he was going to say, I've seen this bullshitty crazy crap too.
Now, I don't think he'll admit to it.
I can't wait to play as him.
I know.
He's
We
like
got to
the-
be getting close.
He's like the one I'm most excited about.
I think him and Luke, and it could be just because they're the end, but
I don't know if I can handle Luke for like 10 hours.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
I'm going to punch him in the face.
Probably.
Such a bratwurst.
Anyway, that's going to do it for us. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.